Today we are going to be going over the 5 top neighborhoods in West Seattle, Washington. So if you want to get to know Seattle neighborhoods better, specifically West Seattle neighborhoods, this is the video for you. Stick around. So West Seattle is probably one of the sleepiest of the neighborhoods in Seattle.
God, I love that movie.
And even being from Seattle, I hadn't been over to West Seattle ever until my 20s when I had a friend who lived on Alki, had a little beach party. I remember the first time I went over there, I'm like, what is this whole neighborhood, this whole section of Seattle I never even ventured out to? It has a very small town feel, even though downtown Seattle is only 10 or 15 minutes away. So what West Seattle is most known for, I would say, would be Alki Beach, which is this 2.5 mile strip along the north and west side of West Seattle, and Lincoln Park, which is this nice green forested area looking to the west, which makes it ideal for watching sunsets as you're walking or biking along the path along the water here. Because you look out over Puget Sound, over the shipping canals, and you see the Olympic Mountains over here, so you got a nice sunset beyond the Olympic Mountains. To the west, it's really quite gorgeous. The views from Alki are amazing as well. You got the westerly views of the sunset and the mountains and the islands over here. You get to the north and the east side, and across the Puget Sound, you've got the skyline of downtown Seattle across Elliott Bay. So while West Seattle feels like it's way out of the way, it's really quite close to downtown, as I was saying earlier. So the main route into and out of West Seattle is going to be the West Seattle Bridge here going over the Duwamish Waterway. As you may recall, it was in the news because right as COVID was happening in 2020, they found structural issues with the West Seattle Bridge, which shut it down for months, which meant the only way in and out of West Seattle was going all the way south down here, which made it kind of a nightmare. But because COVID is happening, there wasn't a lot of people commuting in and out of West Seattle to their job because everything went remote. So in and out on the West Seattle Bridge here, which leads onto Fauntleroy, which meanders right down through here all the way to Lincoln Park. And I'd say there's a few iconic places West Seattle is known for. I've already mentioned Alki Beach, the 2.5 mile strip of waterfront here, and Lincoln Park down here. You also have some iconic restaurants, and specifically Bakery Nouveau is a very popular destination on Sunday mornings. To give you a little bit of the lay of the land here, so you've got California Avenue that goes all the way from the north end of Admiral District all the way down to the Morgan Junction here. And along California Ave, which is the main shopping area for West Seattle, you've got 3 distinct junctions because there used to be a trolley that went down here, and the junctions were the stops for the trolley. Obviously, that was long before any of us were around, in the 20s, I believe. So you got your main junction right in the middle, which is your Alaska Junction, which is probably the busiest. And then about a mile up the road, you have the North Admiral Junction, or Admiral Junction, which if you're coming off the West Seattle Bridge, there's 2 main ways. You can go on Fauntleroy, which goes right into main West Seattle, or you can branch north, which goes to Admiral up here, and then meanders down to Alki Beach down here, or Alki Beach over here. One of the nice things in the Admiral District here is this Hamilton Viewpoint Park, one of the best views of downtown Seattle you'll find. It's elevated and looks out over the Puget Sound, specifically Elliott Bay, to a gorgeous Seattle landscape. And then the 3rd junction is down here on Morgan, which technically it's actually Fauntleroy that crosses here, and Morgan's right here, but they still call it the Morgan Junction. So if I was going to break West Seattle into 5 neighborhoods, there's a few more than just 5, but the main ones are going to be your Alaska Junction, which is right here, your Admiral Junction, and your Morgan Junction. And there's some other smaller ones here we'll get into. We'll start from the top, which tends to be the nicest or most expensive neighborhood, and work our way south where it gradually gets a little more affordable when it comes to housing prices. So the North Admiral is definitely the most desirable area, and that is surrounded by Alki right along here, but there's a ridge that goes along West Seattle here. So if you can be just on either side of that ridge, you're gonna have a nice view either to the west or to the east. So the west obviously is gonna be the Olympic Mountains and sunsets. The east is gonna be downtown Seattle. And all along here, it has a very beachy feel, very touristy. You can rent bikes and scooters and get ice cream and food and lots of cute little shops. There's a flower house here that's iconic that people come from all over Seattle to see. You can rent paddle boards. It has a very beachy feel to it. Every year there's an official polar plunge. If you've ever been in the water here, it is freezing even in the middle of the summertime. So really, even if you go swimming, in the middle of summer, it's gonna be pretty cold. But they have an official polar plunge here. This is the only area of Seattle that actually has a sandy beach other than Shell Shoal up here in North Seattle. Kind of Golden Gardens area also has a sand beach. The only 2 areas of Seattle that actually have beaches. It also has fire pits, so it can be popular during the summer for groups of people to get together, and it's very, very busy in the summertime. There's only one way in and out along Alki, so this is a very steep ravine here, so you've got one road that gets very busy and slow during the summertime. Going up the hill from Alki, you've got the North Admiral District, which, like I said, is very popular. You've got some of the best views and most expensive houses in West Seattle. As I mentioned earlier, it's got Hamilton Viewpoint Park, which has one of the best views in the city. It has some great local quirky coffee shops like Freshy's Coffee and Admiral Bird. Also some great restaurants like Mia Posta Pizza and Arthur's. Admiral District is also home of the Admiral Theater, an iconic historic theater where you can catch the latest flick. If you're looking to grab a great cocktail, the Nook is also amazing. It's tiny, but has a great vibe and amazing drinks. So moving south from the Admiral Junction, we're going to go south towards the Alaska Junction. On our way, we will pass Genesee here. So this is a neighborhood of itself. It's kind of known for mid-century houses, but it's right in between Admiral Junction and the Alaska Junction here. So this side of it, the west side, you're going to have views of the Olympic Mountains. On this side, some of the properties are going to have views of downtown Seattle. So keep going south here and you get into the Seaview neighborhood. More neighborhoods with, classic craftsmen, some mid-century houses. Here and there, there's going to be, some new construction properties. It's become more popular in Seattle to take a house that's really kind of at the end of its life. Maybe it was an old war box, but has a lot of value because of its area, its location or its view, and they'll tear it down and then they'll build, kind of a big modern structure. So I mean, it adds some eclecticism, if you will, to the neighborhoods because you'll have like your craftsman houses and then your mid-century neighborhoods, and then occasionally you'll have a big townhouse or condo structure is very modern, or single-family house is very modern in the middle of this kind of historic-looking neighborhood. So on the other side of California Avenue to the east is Fairmount Park neighborhood. Fauntleroy runs right down the middle of that and into Gatewood neighborhood. I have lived in all these neighborhoods. I've lived in Fairmount Park and then we moved to Gatewood. Very similar fields, slightly different zip codes. If you continue going south, you get into Fauntleroy, which is where Lincoln Park is. So a lot of nice historic houses here, a lot of mid-century houses. You notice throughout Seattle, specifically West Seattle, you'll have these little pockets of greenery. So there's little parks or little ravines. One of the things I forgot to mention up here is the Schmitz Park Reserve, which is a great kept secret that very few people know about. You can actually, walk through here. There's walking trails. If you park here, it's actually a shortcut to get into Alki Beach. Like if there's a big event, it's really hard to get in here in the park. You can actually park here in this neighborhood for Schmitz Park and walk beautiful park through old growth forest and pop out here on Alki Beach. Moving to the east, we have North Delridge and High Point neighborhood. So you can also, when getting off the West Seattle Bridge, if you end up underneath the bridge, you can get on and off of Delridge Avenue. And so I would say that this area is a little more like blue collar, if you will. So houses a little more affordable. It's a little more up and coming than the rest of Seattle. It's a little more established, and I'd say maybe affluent. So if you want to be in West Seattle, but can't afford the the higher price tags of this area, this can be a great area. So this is the home of Pigeon Point, Pigeon Ridge. If you've heard those neighborhoods, those are up here. So this area is actually top of a hill, so depending on the house you might actually get a view of downtown Seattle here. There's Delridge that runs along there, and that goes right into the Westwood area. So Westwood Village is the main shopping area here. There's Target, QFC, some other essentials, Staples and that sort of thing. And just to the east of that is Highland Park. So definitely a little more up and coming, a little more blue collar, and this is all pretty much residential with occasional store or coffee shop or a restaurant in that area. So in West Seattle officially butts up against Roxbury here. One of the nice things about West Seattle, especially if you live on the south side, yes, I mentioned that the West Seattle Bridge is the main way in and out. Delridge connects there, Fauntleroy connects there, if you're in Admiral connects, and so that makes it really easy to get in and out. But one of the nice things, if you're on the south end, while it's also more affordable, you also have Roxbury, which drops right down here to 509, which makes it super easy to get to, Sodo, which is kind of the industrial area here, or to go south and hit 518, which pops over to the airport here or to I-5. So if you live on the south end, it's actually really easy to get in and out of because of 509 here. So you can think about that tip a little later. So technically Seattle proper, Seattle zip codes ends right here, ends right there. And this here, White Center, which is definitely more blue collar, a little more diverse than the rest of West Seattle, which tends to be a little more affluent. Definitely up and coming. There's actually some great bars and restaurants that have come into this area, but this is, while it has Seattle zip codes, is technically unincorporated King County. For now, we'll see. Since it's been so up and coming, lately there's been talks of Seattle trying to annex White Center into their property, or Burien, which is the first city down here to the south of Seattle, trying to annex White Center into this property. So that, in a nutshell, are the properties of West Seattle. If you want to find out more, I've actually got a custom Google map that I built. This is what we're looking at here, built right into my website, because each neighborhood's unique. Per neighborhood has its own description, its own photos of the types of houses it is, and that kind of thing. So you can actually click on this and it goes to its own web page that describes that neighborhood, what you can find there, some of your points of attraction, why people move to that area. So I will post that link in the description below so you guys can check out the different neighborhoods of West Seattle, what makes it unique, what some of the points of interest are, what types of houses you're going to find there. And then if you have any questions about specific price points or looking at any houses, obviously you can contact me. My information's in the description below as well. I hope this was helpful. If so, please give it a thumbs up, heart the video, and I'll continue doing neighborhood videos about West Seattle. Make sure to subscribe and you'll get notifications for those when they come out. Thanks for watching.